Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been good, dude. Less than 2 weeks away for your boy getting married, God willing. So excited for that. Excited to see you in a week or so. So all good things on my end, bro. How you been?
Been good. Just preparing for this half marathon still. Did 12 miles for the first time in my life.
How'd that feel? How did it feel when you got to like 9 or 10 miles? How were you feeling around then?
Well, it was annoying because there's this trail that's like 6 minutes away, and I think it's 11 miles total. But we weren't too familiar with it, so my wife and I went to the trail and ended up running one away from the airport because I'm like, this way will be more scenic and like not as I don't know, I guess commercial or whatever you want to call it. And of course it ends after 2.5 miles, so we got to run the fucking opposite way. Mind you, I'm not pacing with her, so like we're kind of going our own way or at our own pace.
Man.
And then I pass her on the way back. I'm like, yo, once you get over there, you got to turn around. So I run the other way, and it's annoying because now I'm trying to calculate in my head like how far to run so I get back to the car and I'm not like walking an extra 3 miles.
Yep.
End up I go the other way, so I'm like maybe 5 miles in, and then I fucking hit the trail where it's just like flooded, and I can't get past unless I like climb on some rocks and shit to get over. And then it's or I have to cross the street, and it's like one of those big ass streets with like 7 lanes, and you know,
so you might
just throw off the whole run. So I was like, I just turned left, and I'm like, I'm just gonna run down this long street and see where it takes me, just to keep the run going, which was nice. I mean, I'm just glad that I like had a straightforward path after that. Once I got to 8, ran out of water, already ate my snack. I was like, fuck. But I knew I knew at this point, like, I just had to finish it, and it was really tough. Legs were aching like crazy, but fully recovered now.
Nice.
And I just know the actual half marathon will definitely be easy.
Correct,
or doable.
Bro. Correct, doable for sure. You might feel easy, bro. Like I would say, I felt that it was easier than expected. I would say, yeah, dude. But that's probably the worst. That's why I don't try different trails or routes, because like of that. Because I realized after my first, like when I did like 7 or 8 miles, I'm like, all right, well, if I go this way for a mile and then I could go back for another mile, then it's like, oh, but what about the mile home? It's like, bro, like, can I just have a fucking straight line that's like, like I need to be?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like that shit's like, when you're doing math and you're trying to also not pass out, make sure your form is correct. Like that's not a place you want to be. But yeah, but dude, your pace was still pretty good. So like, it didn't really throw you off that bad.
No, my pace was still 10 minutes. And I'm not really trying. I mean, I just have to hit like 13 or 14 minutes to get a medal and finish in time, which is for sure going to happen.
100%.
And I'm not trying to, like, I have no benchmark to go by, so I'm not really trying to beat any time or anything. I just want to, match what I've been doing. And ultimately, I just wanted the medal.
I would say, I mean, you're already going to be like a 1%er, right? Because no one's running half marathons. Like, even though we think like everyone our age is, bro, like the math shows that they're not. You know what I mean? Like, they're not.
Yeah.
But, bro, I think sub 2 hours or 2 hours and like change, like, dude, sub 2 hours, you're like essentially elite, like for your 30s, bro. Because
nice.
No one is doing that, bro. Like the dudes from Kenya, and like they're doing that shit. Like, again, I'm pretty sure they do like a half marathon in like less than an hour. But as far as like the rest of the world, bro, like us, like pretend athletes who still work out, dude, 2 hours or less is fucking next level good. So if you do that, bro, you should be extremely proud of yourself.
Word. No, it's good to know that. Thanks for that, because I think also if you're used to like working out and you're around people who work out as well, you tend to be harder on yourself, and you're like,
oh, for sure.
Damn, like I could have hit this time or done this. But then it's not until I post it and like people who don't run or work out at
Losing their
all are like,
minds.
damn, like how'd you
Yeah.
do this? Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Like, I just somehow made this shit happen. So I definitely am gonna look forward to maybe not running this distance moving forward, but 5 miles. Like a year ago, if you told me, hey, run 5 miles once a week, even that I would be like, go fuck yourself.
Yo, but dude, like not to put your business out there, but I think it's just a testament to like once you put your mind to it, not to sound corny, but like dude, think about when you first came to visit me and we did like the little 2 mile loop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
were
I was like,
struggling.
fuck that. Yeah.
You were like,
Yeah. I
don't
was
even
like,
wait for
nah.
me. Tell me like
Yeah.
just give me. Yeah. So now look
Yeah.
at you, bro. Like so, like yeah, like it's pretty crazy. I think dude, like that's what I'm saying. Like when I did the second half marathon this year with Gina, after doing it in January, bro, like I think the muscle memory is a real thing. Because dude, like I felt fine, you know. Whereas like the idea of doing 13 miles is like, bro, you fucked. Like, why would I do that? Yeah. So you'll see, like, if you don't even do 13 miles again, which you, again, I think you're going to, bro. Like that itch is hard to get rid of. But like, yeah, when you do 7 or 8 miles in the future, bro, it's gonna feel so easy that you're like, how the fuck was this ever hard?
Yeah. And mind you, I forget how humid it was there, but I think in general, like the humidity, I was
Yeah.
just like, man, I like as soon as you walked out the door, I'm like, I'm not keeping up with him. I'm not doing this shit.
That's so good, dude. But let's get into it. Episode 175. Just to give you guys a heads up, this is going to be our last episode for at least a couple weeks. Again, wedding stuff to work on, but the moment we wrap that up, we'll be back to our normally scheduled programming. Episode 174 is up everywhere, but episode 175. I mean, I initially thought going into this, you know, after recording last week, we're going to talk about, you know, We Still Don't Trust You Too. We're going to be pondering if we're going to get a Drake response, if we're going to get a Kendrick response, what's going to be the fallout of J. Cole. And kind of all those things happen except one. So, dude, where do you want to start?
It's a good question. There's so many places to start. I mean, honestly, let's just get into it. Let's just start with the
Drake
news
response?
response. Yeah.
All right,
Waking
so
up
Drake's. So we're recording this on April 15th, 2024. Drizzy, the Sixth God, dropped a response on April 13th. For a while, a lot of us, it sucks, and it's going to be probably like a bigger topic in future episodes. We're like, is this real? Whereas, like, I don't think we've ever had to do this like 5 years ago or 2 years ago. Like, is this a real response? So I think the whole thing about AI, and then Blair and I heard one version that had the Tupac, you know, get money, hit him up, you know, ad libs. Apparently that wasn't the official version. And then there was a final official version that had academics as ad libs. So whatever. So we heard the official version of push-ups. I mean, dude, I think on this pod, we said that we figured it'd be like 16 for all these haters and then 16 for just Kendrick. I don't think it ended up being just that, but I also didn't think he would be able to handle responding to everyone accordingly in such a very efficient, petty, very direct way. So with the diss record, I was highly impressed. We can get into it a bit, like if this is like a knockout blow. I don't think it is, but what were your thoughts on the record itself?
Well, as soon as you sent it to me, I listened to it, and immediately I was like, this can't be AI. I just know, I mean, you can tell how clever the bars were, and it was just, I just couldn't imagine an outside party investing that much time to get that creative and target everybody in ways that would rub those individuals the wrong way.
It was very specific, certain lines.
Very specific, right? Yeah. And I will say a lot of that stuff we kind of already know, like, you know, Rick Ross being a CEO, a former CEO, and like saying, you know, I gave you guys hits and all this stuff, but at the same time, I don't know, you could just tell from the cadence and everything, like this is not some dude in his bedroom making this and pretending to be Drake. And to be fair, also Academics was covering it, and it was very apparent very soon that this was real.
Yeah.
And I immediately, like, the beat I just fell in love with it, and I realized the way the diss sounds, the tone, the flow, the beat, all make a huge difference.
Hmm.
Um, I think of what's said matters as well, but I feel like if it's something you want to replay and listen to over and over again, it seems like it's much easier for you to win uh the hearts of the listeners.
Which is what we were saying, right? We were saying this like
Mm.
this is gonna we thought prior that this is gonna be a very tough response for Drake because even though he loves making hits, like a hit isn't a guarantee to happen, right? Like you could really want to make a hit, but there's no guarantee. And like essentially everyone was saying, bro, like that was such a phenomenal song that if you're gonna respond to that, bro, you gotta come correct. And dude, this was as close to as perfect, bro, because man, he took shots at all of them for the most part. And then like, even the people he didn't take a shot at, that's still like a cool like background noise to this, because it's like, oh, dude, like I don't have time for you, Nav or ASAP or whatever. So, yeah, man, the bars were crazy, the bars were witty. Yeah, man. Again, I'm just mad that it's not already on DSPs because I hate having to replay like on YouTube and like Twitter. You know what I mean? Like it
Mhm.
that's the only reason I haven't heard this song 1,000 times already is because like, bro, I want to be texting people about this shit while I'm listening to it, and like I really
Uh,
can't because of like the way it's been like dropped to us so far.
yeah. No, I mean, I plan to download it as like a local file to my Spotify playlist. I usually do that if I
Mm.
can't, if these artists slack on getting it uploaded. Um, but do you think he leaked it on purpose? Because there's two versions out, and people are saying, well, if he did want this to come out, why not just have the real version come out first?
Dude, that's a great question, bro. I don't know, man. Like I really don't know. This seems like very much like a bunch of like chess moves happening, and it's not clear as to the real why behind it. Like I don't know if he doesn't want to have Spotify or Apple put their own stamp on like a diss record and keep like his discography on those platforms like clean of shit like this. So yeah, dude, I really don't know because like it feels like his actions since the song dropped, either the academics confirming it, some of his Instagram stories, including today where he has Metro Boomin doing the drumline stuff from that movie. Like clearly he's like he put this stamp like, yo, this was real. This was me. I want this out. But yeah, I honestly don't know. What are some of the theories you either come up with yourself or you've seen online?
I feel like he did it himself, or his team did, on intentionally. Um, and the reason being, well, one, we know the song was already in the hands of people within the industry because Rory and Maul,
Already
a
knew
few
about it.
days before, they knew about it. They um, referenced the song, talking about push-ups and give me 50 and all this stuff. So it's very clear that, I wouldn't be surprised if this was floating around in text messages and stuff. Um, and then on top of that, it's a perfect way for Drake to test the waters, see
Hmm.
how people are responding. If it sucks, he can
That wasn't
pretend,
the
he
final
can leave it to
version.
the audience.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
the final version. This was AI. Um, and if he sends out two versions too, it looks more like it was
Mm.
unintentional. Like, why would I give you the uh unfiltered, raw, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
original final that's not as good? Like, if we release both though, it seems like, someone just got a hold of it and released it. And I also get to be a bit dismissive, like, I was gonna drop that shit whenever I felt like it, but
Yeah.
oh, it's out now and everyone's going crazy.
I mean,
um
smart, bro. Smart.
Smart, or the universe is on his
Or
fucking
lucky
side,
as
because
fuck.
yeah, because like it just worked out perfectly.
Yeah. And again, it was another day in hip hop where everything was. Well, it was another day in hip hop culture where everyone stopped to discuss this, bro. Like I was in the middle of doing errands and I sent it to you, and then I just stopped at a parking lot, bro. I'm like, I gotta listen to this shit. And then when I
Mhm.
got through the song a couple times, I'm like, this is my goat. This is my like
Right.
really fuck, because I was nervous, bro. When you because I think you said, oh my God, bro, this was amazing. I'm like, bro, he's fucking trolling me. he's saying that to like fuck with me. So like I love it. And he's like, oh no, I hate that shit. So like, no, it was cool that the response from everyone was just like, again, regardless, it's very obvious that I've been a Drake stan forever. That's not gonna end. But it was cool that I think people who aren't Drake fans were at least appreciative of the attempt on this song, right? Like I think it was very clear that this was the first time in a long time where this like names were dropped, right? Like it wasn't alluding to maybe this is about him, it could be about him. Like obviously there was that because you have to be creative in this space. But do the Metro line, like the K-Dot references, like Cole, like it's like, no, bro, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't want there to be any misinterpretation of this. Like I really, I appreciate the boldness of that.
Same. And were there any bars in particular that blew your mind on the first listen?
Bro, on first listen, it was tough because you're just trying to like honestly comprehend like what's happening. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like again, I'm trying to understand like what the fuck is happening. I mean, with all this stuff, man, you have to go back and truly revisit them multiple times to truly make sure nothing goes over your head. I love the Abel stuff. Talking about like the weekend, like not really being loved in Toronto. The moment he got money, he kind of fled away. Him making fun of him for spending money on guys the way he does on girls. We spoke about offline, but the Rick Ross reference and then alluding to Diddy without having to say Diddy's name is just again no one does that. Leaving out words or phrases better than Drake. Kind of to make you sing along, even though maybe you didn't want to sing along to the song. So that was good for me. One that did go over my head, but I caught it online today. Did you realize that Chippendale line was a jab at Future?
No.
So this is like, I know he's great at doing the triple entendres and stuff, and so I think he calls himself Drake Chippendale. And so Chip and Dale are cartoon characters that would always bother Pluto from the Disney things. And then the next line is like, he's making fun of them for being on the Rolling Loud stage, joking around. But he's like, things would be different if your BM's Kiss and Tell. And one of Sierra's most popular songs is Kiss and Tell.
Oh, so, damn.
This thing is like, bro, like...
I don't know. I was thinking of Chippendale's like the Vegas stripper thing. I thought he was just basically saying like, I'm on dancing on your hose and all this other stuff or something. I don't know.
Which also makes sense, right? Yeah. So like, bro, like there was a lot of that, which was like, again, you have to listen to this shit over and over. And obviously that's where the internet's great because they just keep throwing theories at you. You're like, but that kind of does make sense. And dude, the King, what's a prince to a king line? Bro, that's phenomenal. But like, did you also know that? And maybe I already texted this to you, so if you don't have to pretend to be shocked. But like, did you also know that Michael Jackson's middle son is named Prince?
I did, but I didn't catch it when I was listening to it. I was at first I was like, that was actually the most exciting bar for me because that was the most exciting bar for Kendrick.
Yes.
I'm like, there's no way Drake is gonna be able to flip that back because he's already talked about Michael, and then he does it and has like the triple entendre shit again. And to your point, Michael Jackson's son's named Prince. He's basically saying what's a prince to a king, like a king is higher, and then on top of that, a prince is literally the son of a king. So it's like he's just sunned him in that moment.
Sunned him, bro. Like sunned him. And but side note, this is regardless apart from this, but Michael Jackson apparently only named his son Prince as a petty move to like tell Prince like you're a son to me.
Damn. Bro, this shit goes way too deep.
That is the best of this, bro, because like I think like they had real beef or something at some point. But yeah, no, dude, so stuff like stuff like that, bro. It just it was a very enjoyable song, bro. I think he was serious when he had to be serious. He was, I think, so in contradictory to like what 7-minute drill was, or was it? Like, yeah, there was like a passiveness when this song started, but then as it gets going, you hear his like temperament get it real serious about like, yo, I'm not fucking with you guys. Like, I think because at one point towards the end, he's like, Kendrick, drop or you've had that song for 4 years. Like he repeats himself like twice, like drop the fucking song then. You know what I mean? Like almost like I like that there was a sense of like I'm taking this serious, even though it starts off with a little bit of a lackadaisical like first couple seconds.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there were a couple moments where I felt it was a little hypocritical or exaggerated. It didn't kill the song for me by any means, but with any diss, there's certain moments where you're like, do you like honestly believe this, or is it just for like extra effect? And one of those moments was when he said your last album just bricked or flopped or whatever. And I know that's like a narrative with Mr. Morale in general, but
yeah,
I mean, it sold just under 300,000. The album clearly wasn't any attempt to like chart or have commercial success, really. So even by Drake's standards or Kendrick's, like I don't think that album flopped, but it seems like the internet just hates it. So like,
and it's the easy thing to keep like adding fuel to that fire, kind of a thing,
right? Which is weird because it's like Kendrick had zero intention of like trying to make it a number one album or whatever.
Yeah, I think there was even like when we were talking about, but I remember when there was the rollout for Mr. Morale. Like, I think he didn't even allow like a certain type of sale to happen. So like it was very clear from the jump that this wasn't going to be like, even if he like wanted it to be, like there was already things in place that would never allow this album to like sell 500 or 600,000 copies.
And there was no self promo. Really, except for the Heart 5 when he had the like deep fake face stuff, and
which he always does.
Yeah, he always does that. And Drake, on the other hand, is very more invested in like, hey, like I'm rolling this out, and I want it to be massive, a massive moment. And then the other thing too is I think generally in these situations, it's funny how like everyone flip flops, and all of a sudden everyone who's challenging like their favorite artist is irrelevant or fell off. Like with Future and Rick Ross, I think he said Rick Ross specifically, every song you had charted was because of Drizzy. And I looked, and there was so many songs from like Port of Miami that were on there. T-Pain, that the Boss song was like way up there. Granted, most of the number ones that Future and Rick Ross have
are Drake.
Were Drake, but I think people are I guess exaggerating the amount of say or impact Drake has on their careers, because I think they're still two very like individual niche artists to the point where they have separate fan bases. I just think Drake, when he collides with these people, like brings in like everyone's
elevates
getting involved. But separately, I mean, Future had his thing going on way before. Rick Ross had his thing going on way before. But I get what he's saying. I mean, it is valid, I think, just for the sake of the diss. He's, of course, embellishing. You
gotta exaggerate it. Bit. Yeah, you gotta exaggerate it.
He's not gonna be like, I gave you 7.5,
Yeah. I gave you 2 bangers in the last 10 years. Yeah, no, for sure. He has to exaggerate a little bit. But again, I think he's just also leaning into the notion of like kind of what we did, like when this first all happened, like when they all got together, like to diss him or whatever, just like unfollow him. It's like, bro, like this is odd, bro, because this guy gave you a bunch of hits, right? Not all your hits, but gave you a bunch of hits, right? So that was odd. So as of right now, on April 15th, we haven't gotten an official Kendrick response yet. So do you think like Kendrick's on the clock? We already got a Rick Ross response. But like, yeah, what do you think the next moves are right now? Or are going to be, sorry?
I'd say Kendrick's on the clock because it seems like he's the one who wants to smoke the most. And he's...
Besides Metro. I think Metro...
Besides Metro. Right. I mean, Metro definitely wanted it, but I mean... I feel like when it comes to the Weeknd and Metro and stuff, I'm not even concerned because like they're not really a threat. They're not going to rap. They're not going to do shit. So it's like, Yeah, it's funny, but I'm not even like worried about what they think. Whereas with Kendrick, I'm very like he's obviously been labeled like the savior of hip hop for the last 10 or so years. So
And he leaned into that with
he
the
leaned
last album
into it.
too.
Yeah. And he's had all these ciphers and been taking shots at Drake. Drake's been doing the same, but Drake's finally responded. And now it's Kendrick's opportunity to showcase his pen. And I feel like we have like 2 weeks before we get bored of this. I think he needs to capitalize on this moment. And people keep saying he already has something. So there's like literally no reason for us to be waiting like 2 months or something.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks is a great number, bro, because yeah, like you would think that you want to remove, which is what Ross attempted to do, you want to remove any momentum Drake may get back, right? Because I think right now, it was a very much like, oh wow, they're really going at Drake. Oh wow, they're even more people now. And then they dropped this second version of the album, or part two, sorry. So it's like, but then Drake quickly got all the momentum, right? Because first of all, the album, the response was fire. So yeah, I think if you're Kendrick or whoever, but Kendrick specifically, you can't let this guy get more momentum and make the people think that he won, right? Because like you said, for the last 10 years, either through ciphers or indirect songs, like you would think this is exactly what Kendrick wanted. He's like, yo, I finally got him to respond to me directly. It's fucking on, right? Like you would think he'd be licking his lips, just like getting so excited for this.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But now you got me thinking. I almost feel like it would be better if he drops it towards the latter end of the 2 weeks, because like that has, even though I don't know if it's still number one currently, but it had time to kind of calm down a little bit. The shock value eventually does fade. And as much as I love the push up song or drop and give me 50, I feel like 2 weeks from now, the novelty of it will fade away a little bit to the point where I'm like, okay, now I'm fully dedicated to
So
hearing
whatever
what other
Kendrick
people have to
drops.
say.
Yeah.
Kendrick. So hopefully it's a banger as well, because the first two are bangers. If it's like on some boom bap like lyrical shit that the younger audience isn't gonna be privy to, I don't think it's gonna land.
Again, so now really, I think because both of them have set the bar so high, he needs to come with a hit record, right? It has to be on some fucking Money Trees, the bitch don't kill my vibe, like that level of like people want to replay the song, and you also dissed our favorite rapper, kind of a shit. It can't just be you have this like Fire 16 and it's like, all right, bro, like, like, okay, dude, we always knew, because I think it's like, bro, we always knew you can out rap him. So out rapping him can't be all you do. Like you have to like almost like beat him at his own game of like be super clever, but also have a hit record that we want to listen to over and over.
Right. Exactly. And especially because I mean, I saw some old heads posting like Lupe's diss to Royce da 5'9" and stuff, and I listened to it, and it was clever, but I would never listen to it in any other context except for someone telling me to listen to it. So,
right.
And we know Lupe and Royce da 5'9", all these guys could out rap Drake and probably Kendrick, if they really wanted to. But I think what's exciting about Drake and Kendrick is they can be lyrical and make great catchy songs. And
correct.
I think this battle's different than most because of that.
Correct. I completely agree. So what do you think of Drake's strategy, which it appears, with not responding thus far to Rick Ross? Because Rick Ross dropped the diss record. I think it's Champagne Massacre or Champagne.
Isn't it like it was something super vague, like Champagne Thoughts or some shit? Let me see.
Oh, I think it is
Champagne Pain. No, Champagne Moments. That shit is like an AI generated title.
Yeah, so he had the diss record drop like 2 hours after Drake's drop, which again alludes to either maybe he ran to the studio or he had this shit for the most part ready to go. But you made a great point. There was a reference to the leak itself. But maybe again, he knew about the leak 3 to 4 days prior and he gave him like a little bit extra time regardless. So for those of you who haven't heard Champagne Thoughts or Champagne Moments, He talks about Drake being a white boy. Lil Wayne gave him a black pass, essentially put him onto the game. He said that Drake got a BBL done for his body to have abs, even though he has 25% body fat. And then he said that Drake got a nose job because he didn't want to appear black like his dad. So pretty wild takes. So before we get into Drake's lack of response, what were your thoughts on Rick Ross, the song, and the overall antics that seemed to try to like antagonize him to respond?
I respected the timing. The narrative is that he responded in 2 hours. He very well could have known he was going to get dissed and just had some stuff ready. Granted, he mentioned the leak, but I mean, as an artist, you can always leave space for like something that's more relevant to the actual diss that you're listening to. So it's not far-fetched to say he could have written this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or even a month ago, 10 months ago. But as far as the content itself, I think on first listen, I was actually kind of impressed, not necessarily because I believed everything or thought it was brand new information. I think more so impressed that he was willing to take it there and just be disrespectful. And it sounded smooth and it was nice, but I knew it was going to be forgettable. And the reason being is if you're just like listening to it in the background, it sounds like it could just be any other Rick Ross song.
Yeah.
Especially because there's a lot of moments where he'll talk about Drake and then all of a sudden it's marble floors, rollies, and all this other shit, which is cool. But again, that shouldn't be filling up like 40% of the song.
Yeah.
And then the nose job, like there's no proof of it. It's funny, but I mean, if it's clearly fake and no one's believing it, then it just doesn't land when you're making super false claims. If anything, the white boy one, I think, was probably his biggest diss within the track, because we all know Drake's kind of alluded to being insecure about his blackness and being biracial, etc. So I thought that was like kind of a clever way to disrespect him. But again, I don't think Drake is unfamiliar with that, and I think Kendrick is just a much bigger beast. So I don't think he's gonna give Ross the time of day anytime soon.
Even though, like, again, like the IG stories are like antagonizing. He's like, you better respond or tell these kids you're not that dude. Yeah, man, I thought the Ross song was good. Like I don't think there's any. I mean, we've said multiple times, like, Ross is probably one of the better rappers out for the last like 10, 15 years, right? I think he is past his prime, but this is a great example. Like, some people just don't lose that skill. So, but people do lose relevancy, bro. And I think this is a great example of like him trying to cash in. So again, I respect, because like, he's not on anyone's timeline, bro. You diss me, I can diss you back within 10 seconds, right? Like, I don't have to fucking wait for Kendrick or Future to give me a pass. Hey, go after him. Like, bro, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. So I respect that. But yeah, man, I just think the overall antics are kind of corny. Again, bro, like I think I shared a text message with you with one of my boys, but dude, I don't think Rick Ross is at liberty to talk about anyone's body fat percentage and abs, bro. Like, if we're just being honest, like, who are you to talk about this, bro? So that it came from like a hurt place, for whatever reason. And I just think the biracial stuff is corny, because I get what you're saying. Like, I get what he's trying to say and allude to, but bro, like, it's tough for me to think you hate this guy for certain aspects of what he is, when for 10 to 12 years, it felt that you needed him on a hook to ensure your song was accepted by the masses, right? Again, I agree. I became a Rick Ross fan, and it had nothing to do with Drake. However, I think Rick Ross kept a lot of fans because you could always expect either a fire Drake feature or a fire Rick Ross feature one of Drake's songs, and it just helped him, right? So it's tough for me to be like, oh, white boy, you were afraid to go to the basketball court, blah, blah. Like, bro, come on, bro. Like, if you really believe that says more about you for being his friend for so long, right? Like, so that's, I'm like, bro, like you're kind of telling on yourself. So yeah, I just think the BBL no shit is just corny, bro. Like that's what this is about now, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I think Rick Ross still achieved. I think relevancy is confusing to me with him just because it seems like Jay-Z has like co-signed him several times, where he could just pop up and they make some like cinematic gangsters dope dealer type track, or like he'll be with Skrillex or something here and there and people will love it.
yeah,
I don't think he's as relevant as before. It seems like now he's kind of like Khaled, where he's just this social media esque personality.
yeah, entrepreneur, you know, ranch
Yeah.
in Atlanta, life is good, and dude, good for him. Yeah, so dude, I get what you're saying because he did have that song with what was it, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z on like some Khaled project. I think was it God or
Was John Legend? Was
God
it?
did, I think was the song.
Yeah, John Legend was on it too.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
That
yeah,
one
yeah.
charted pretty high.
Charted pretty high, right? But again, that's also like DJ Khaled's thing of like forming the Avengers, right? So you're forced to listen to it. Again, I go by relevancy, dude. Your last project with Meek Mill, no one gave a fuck about, right? You're performing at proms or small venues because that's essentially the attention you're getting right now, right? Like you're not selling out arenas. Again, dude, there's nothing wrong with this, bro. Like rappers are meant to age this way, right? Like it's not like, again, there's only a handful of Jay-Z's, Lil Wayne's, Drake's, Kendrick's. Like, this is how it normally goes, right? Good thing for him that he made all his money. He's not dependent on these shows. I think he just does it for the love of the game. But the reality is there's not as many eyeballs on you. So this is a great time to capitalize. So again, I respect it. I just think the overall antics of it seemed corny because this was your man for 10 years. So like, that's like you coming at me. He's like, bro, I never liked Dominicans. I'm like, bro, what? Like, bro, like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, but I think
the first thing you knew about me.
I think that's like just the classic falling out of people, though. It's like as soon as you break up with your girl, now all of a sudden your dick is small.
Yeah.
You don't know how to fucking like you're a broke ass bitch. Like, and
right,
I mean, Drake didn't do it as extreme though. He's like, I might cuff her like I'm Ricky. But then it's like now I'm a cop all of a sudden who's like, you want to stay away from. He didn't say that, but I feel like every time these disses come out, there's a few bars where it's like, damn, if you felt this way now, like,
yeah, no, dude,
what?
this probably goes both ways, but it feels. I think it feels even no did it. I think it feels more extreme when you get a whole song of it as opposed to a one-liner, and you know he's following up with more Instagram stories, like baiting him for more. It's like, bro, like no one cares about you, dog. Like again, we respect that the attempt, but like if I would be so disappointed to answer my own question earlier. What do we think? Like Drake needs to only focus on Kendrick. Like, bro, I wouldn't. If we get a response from Future, ASAP Rocky saying, bro, why didn't you fucking respond to me? The Weeknd with another fucking couple lines, like, bro, no. The only focus is Kendrick because I think all these guys are trying to almost distract him from what the main goal is to kind of make the overall brand and appeal of him go down.
For sure. And the funny thing about all this is every single one of these rappers would love to say they don't care about what other people think. But I think because the public isn't on Rick Ross or ASAP Rocky or any of the other guys' side, I could see Drake easily being like, well, then I have no reason to respond because most people are on my side. So I'd rather just post, pictures here and there making fun of, Metro Boomin or whoever, as opposed to investing my time. But Kendrick, on the other hand,
different animal.
People genuinely are like 50-50 split between, maybe even more so on Kendrick's side, hoping, he demolishes Drake. Because I think if he doesn't, people will feel like they've been living a lie and kind of supporting a fake savior, so to speak. So
yeah, I would
sure
say, like, to make this like an end game analogy, I really think the public or whoever's siding with whatever, I think they're thinking that he's Iron Man, like Kendrick's Iron Man, and then like Thanos is fucking Drake, and like they're just hoping that fucking Kendrick comes through and just like, I don't think annihilates Drake, but just shows that, all right, real hip hop won, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, real hip hop wins, and now Drake doesn't even have all these other cosigns. Then what's Drake? You know, and then it's like maybe we'll get a break of Drake finally or some shit. But dude, I do want to bring up a topic, same topic, but it came up on the live stream that Academics was doing, bro. And I'm not saying he stole my content because he didn't know, but I had that thought in my mind as well, bro. Like, I didn't use that word that he used. He used a coup. But dude, I was thinking in my head, like, bro, this is like a fucking mutiny, bro. Like what is happening? You know what I mean? When all of these guys were ganging up, and then when I heard We Don't Trust You Too, and then ASAP jumped in, and the Weeknd got very specific, again, without saying OVO, you know, like, I was like, damn, bro, these guys are really just like, we're done not being number one. And I was like, this is like a fucking mutiny, bro. This is like, yo, get the head guy out of here, bro. We're over this shit. It just felt, you know, it felt wild to me, bro, like that. So when he said coup, I was like, oh, bro, yeah, I felt that way. So it's cool to see, you know, Drake respond so aggressively.
For sure. And I think, I mean, for one, for anyone saying like they need Drake, I agree, like he's helped their careers, but I think everyone involved is so insanely rich that whatever's going on behind the scenes, clearly they have enough money to not care what bridges they're burning. But it also makes me wonder, because based on the little we know about how Drake behaves with regular people, he seems like a pretty stand-up guy, but it just boggles my mind that, you know, 15, 20 people all of a sudden are overtly against him. And I'm like, is he really like a piece of shit? Because this is so odd to me. Like, he must be the best actor ever. He deserves an Oscar if he's just fucking over people behind the scenes.
A piece of shit who you thought his insurance, even if he was a piece of shit, like, I think to Academic's point is like, bro, like, I helped all you guys at some point. So like, you would think like at least that would be his insurance policy. That like, even if I am a piece of shit, well, bro, I gave you a hit record. You know, we have to be at least cordial. So like, the fact that hit records from past time and future hit records don't matter anymore to some of these guys, it's like, yeah, like, bro, what did he do? Right? It can't just be because he made Metro like get mad at, like, there's no way Metro has that much power, bro. Like, I fail to believe this is all because Metro Boomin got offended and like text all these guys like, well, it's either on my side or no more beats for you. Like, I don't believe that, bro. Like, there has to be something way deeper.
No, I don't think it's necessarily Metro's power. I just think they all felt the same way. And it's very easy to click up when, you know, you and a bunch of other people don't like the same person for different reasons.
Yeah.
Again, who knows? I know there's so many like intricate things that I've heard from like other producers where it's like, this artist manager didn't pay me or whatever, and that kind of shit doesn't really make it to Twitter often.
Yeah.
So who knows? But I hope it gets exposed.
I hope it gets exposed.
If Kendrick knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I hope it gets exposed, but yeah, it feels like that's also not Kendrick's battle. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting if it still comes out. So dude, it's funny how you said you alluded to something a second ago, I forgot exactly, but the clicking up of all these dudes. Yo, I went back to yesterday and today at the gym to listen to the Scary Hours bonus tracks. Bro, he's alluding to a lot of this, obviously hindsight's fucking 2020, but bro, on Red Button and Stories About My Brother and Wickman, bro, it's all about dudes clicking up, people he would never sign, feeling comfortable talking shit. Like, bro, it's all there. So like, it's very, and again, that album dropped when? When was that shit? Like end of last year?
Yeah. Because we went to Colombia November, and I'm pretty sure it dropped like right before we went. Or sorry,
like, yeah, November-ish, maybe the Scary Hours version. So again, this may have all been brewing for like 6 months. Obviously, again, apparently Pluto, what will Pluto do as a direct diss at Future? again, if you listen to just like the last 3 songs on the main project and the extra Scary Hour songs, man, it's all alluding to people like boycotting him, the alliance coming, clicking up because they're bunch. I'm like, oh, dude, it was all. But you again, hip hop's it could be so specific, but also could be so general that you're just thinking he's talking about general haters. You know what I mean? Like that don't matter, and not like fucking his boys from the last 10 years.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Drake specifically. What I hear is a lot of his disses. I think Kanye actually said this, but a lot of his disses are very specific to the people he's talking about. So like you and I won't necessarily catch on, but like Kanye will remember the fucking text from 8 days ago, and he'll be mad. But it just sounds dope to us, and it's vague enough to where we understand, but we don't know who he's talking about.
Correct. Yeah, like the whole thing like on sicko mode about like the shit about going to Kim's house, kind of a thing. Yeah, bro. Like again, so yeah, if you haven't yet, dude, I would go back to Red Button and Stories About My Brother, because like those are very specific, and you're like, oh wow, he already knew this was coming, you know, kind of a thing. So yeah, he wasn't concerned. So your thoughts on We Don't Trust You Too? And then the lines that, or the shots that The Weeknd and A$AP Rocky took at him on that project.
I'll be honest. When I first listened to it, I was disappointed. I was like, I'm about to fall asleep. It was just too. Bro, I wasn't expecting R&B shit or like whatever.
Yeah. Whatever that attempt was.
Yeah. Like 2 songs in, I'm like, fuck. Like I'm like, Kendrick better pop up out of nowhere and just scream "fuck you" or something, because this is boring as shit. Not bad, just I think the timing, it was just weird. It's like, how are you gonna go from this epic diss to like singing lullabies? So I think that's what threw me off. A$AP, loved the dude, but the delivery just didn't do it for me. I mean, I guess it was kind of cool to hear him respond, but I was like, man, this shit sounds like he just wanted to be a part of this. I was like, yo,
which he even says, right?
10 minutes. Yeah. He's like, why don't you put me on the first one? Like,
on the better
one. Call us in, say whatever comes to your mind. And apparently people were saying that he dated and banged Drake's baby moms.
Yeah.
But if Drake already knows that shit, I don't know like how hurtful this could be. But he did say like before you birth your son or something. So yeah, it was cool. But Drake, I don't see him giving this time of day.
And what about The Weeknd's line?
I mean, I'm definitely like sympathetic to if it's true that he declined signing and then Drake was just being petty about it. Like, I think that's fucked up. If someone
so is the petty part like Drake not giving him any more features or not wanting to work with him? What was the petty part?
I think the petty part is he just kind of like discounted him ever since, like he felt the type of way about him doing that. I think they kind of briefly like rekindled their friendship or whatever,
like on stage once,
just
right?
Like always like, weird. Yeah. So I get that, and I see other major artists, like I think Wiz Khalifa and Nipsey both denied Rick Ross and they were completely fine. So yeah,
that happened at some point with Wiz and Mac, right? Like I think Mac just got too big and didn't want to be like signed under Wiz or whatever. So
something like along those lines. And I get it. It's kind of, disappointing if you feel like you kind of put someone on or whatever. And they're like, I think my career will be better if I just have my own brand.
Yeah.
But in any case, I didn't, even those bars, I wasn't like, oh my God, it's interesting to hear a bar sung in a song and like wanting to feel like, damn, he really got him. It's like, imagine getting in a fight with, in an argument with someone and like singing like, fuck you, or you were shady or something.
Yeah,
like
which
that.
is, dude, but it reminded me of like when Justin Timberlake, Nelly Furtado, and Timbaland had like that diss to like Scott
with Prince?
Storch. No, it's the diss to Scott Storch. Remember, like, bro.
Yeah,
it was
but
like,
I think Prince was dissed too, allegedly. Oh no, sorry, that was Sexy Back. Never mind.
Yeah. So this was another song. Yeah, that was like Timbaland's response to Scott Storch, thinking that Scott Storch was like the man or whatever. But so dude, The Weeknd can say whatever he wants. Again, it's very odd. Also, like he posts, It was funny how like it felt like the initial response from all of the people who were against Drake was just like, let's post us like laughing at this, like it's not a really good verse. And it's like, bro, like if your response is just to be dismissive that way, like if the public is telling you they're enjoying it, you can't just laugh at this. You know what I mean? That felt corny to me. But I mean, yeah, The Weeknd has real beef with him, dude. So be it. Dude, the ASAP Rocky thing, I didn't get mad at as a Drake stan, because I think this was a direct response to Drake, right? Because I'm pretty sure Drake shit on him, shit on Rihanna on all for all the dogs. So I'm like, bro, you got to get your lick back at some point, bro. Right. You can't. I'm surprised it took this long, to be honest. So, but again, what we've been alluding to about ASAP, we love him. There's moments you think he's gonna be the guy, but then there's just like, I don't think the only reason he's not the guy is because Drake's in the picture, bro. I just think there's just too much going on, bro. Like lyrically, he's not that guy, right? He's just a fun dude to have on a track at times. Like, I think there is a reason that he hasn't dropped an album since 2018. It's like, do we really want to even listen to you? Like, we think we do, but I don't know if we actually do.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely has like the swag and stuff. But as I was listening to his verse, I'm like, one, I'm glad he's not trying to compete with Kendrick and Drake and Cole or any of these guys, because he's just he's more like a Travis to me. Like,
yeah, and he would get, and if he was like trying to, bro, like the standard for him would be so like get raised so high that you're like, bro, like we'd be questioning, bro, why are you even famous? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so.
Right. And there's not even a song, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe that one song that had like 8 people like Joey Badass and shit, but I don't think there's any song out there where people like that's the one song where he like outdid himself and, you know, out-rapped Drake and Kendrick and whoever else.
It's always been similar to what we say about Travis. It's like they're able to construct an energy on a song that you just want to be a part of. Right, like ASAP Rocky, ASAP Mob, that movement was something you wanted to be a part of because, like, bro, this is fucking cool, right? It wasn't like 4 dudes rapping their ass off, and you're like, oh, these are the best rappers out, right? So, but yeah, I just think that feature kind of made me, like you said, it was a good reminder of like, you're not that guy for a reason, and it's not only because of Drake, it's because you're not that guy.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want to be dismissive. That's like what sucks about like when we're comparing people, bro. We've always said that, like. I'm not trying to, because I'm digging up Drake, I don't want to put down other people, but again, it's a beef. So I guess, you know, all's fair. But dude, I'm glad you said that, bro, because I thought I was being a hater about We Don't Trust You Part 2. Because, bro, like I was honestly nervous. I'm like, bro, if they come out with another banger album, bro, it's over for Drake, bro.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, they knew that Part 2 was going to get the listen. So I imagine
you have to capitalize on it. Yeah, exactly. You have to. Their stock has never been higher, bro. But yeah, man, I was a couple songs in, and I'm like, bro, this is bad, bro. Like this is like, I don't want to hear this ever again. You know, like, and then I know there was a J. Cole feature in there, and like, again, I think we knew that was coming because I think he alluded that he already heard other beats by Metro. But still, it just the timing of it, it's another thing against him that just seems so poor, bro.
Right.
The removing of 7-minute drill from every DSP, like, it's like, bro, like, stop, bro. Like, whoever's giving you this fucking PR advice, like, fire them, dog, because this is, dog, it's taking him to a new low, like, every day. And it's just like, dog, like, thank God Drake dropped this because it can stop the conversation about him for a little bit, because if Drake didn't drop this past weekend and we're just thinking about him on a feature with Future after the whole debacle, it's like, bro, who the fuck is this guy? So
also, I didn't like the crooning of it. No, Drake did him a favor. I agree with your point about Drake saving him, because I also thought the feature was pretty weak of J. Cole on that. Didn't showcase like any big, he didn't have big 3 energy on that track. And I know he bowed out, but you would think he would still outdo himself. And he was, prior to all of this, kind of like the elusive Jay-Z feature. And now I'm like, oh, he's just, you know, another cool famous rapper on the song.
So what I said earlier is, again, I've been listening to a lot of the For All the Dogs stuff, just to get kind of like to see if there was any hints. And then on that, obviously, first person shooter. And what's the other one with this guy, bro? With J. Cole? Not Time Flies. What the fuck is that? What is it? Stories about damn, what is it? Am I crazy? Oh, Evil Ways. So those two songs. So I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I know this on the rundown too. Like those songs, I almost wish that we can remove J. Cole's verses, because like having him on those songs just like it removes all the weight those songs had, especially first person shooter, right? Because that's a song, I'll be honest, that's a song I was thinking about coming out as my grand entrance song, because I'm like, bro, it's about a duo that's ready to take over the world and like let's fucking go. And now it's just like, well, it's one guy who was serious about it.
All right. Yeah, that would be like the worst like metaphor or whatever for your marriage.
Yo, the worst. Yeah. Like, only one person's really committed here, by the way. So so what are your thoughts when you like have you had a chance to replay first person shooters since this whole thing? Like does it hit different for you? Or are you able to remove, I mean, I think over time everyone's gonna remove this current stuff, but in current listening for you, are you able to actually enjoy that song the same way?
Not the same way. I still enjoy it. Like I'm not gonna straight up just remove every fucking trace of J. Cole from my music playlist. I still listen to his stuff. I think it's just the specific bars that allude to being the greatest or smoking rappers. That's when I'll feel like I'm living a lie.
Immediately roll your eyes. Like it's crazy.
Right. If it's anything else, like there's a song called Fever on his recent album, has nothing to do with like being the best rapper. Fine, like he's still a great musician. That never changed. But first person shooter, I think is the most overt attempt to say I'm the greatest. Like there's no sugarcoating in that song, but the beat is just too fire. Drake's parts are obviously amazing.
Yeah.
And in the video, even though I think J. Cole had the better verse, in the video, it seems like it's curated in a way to make Drake still look like he's better. Like when he throws the basketball and it goes around the globe, and then I think J. Cole like throws up his hands like this motherfucker just.
And the Michael Jackson statue at the end was just phenomenal. Yeah.
So if I train myself to think of it from that perspective, like, you know, Drake's still above you, then I think it's not as weird of a song to listen to still.
Yeah, no, I feel you. But I feel like I saw, especially with Evil Ways, bro, when they're going back and forth, like it's like this fucking guy, bro.
Was that the one where like Drake would do 2 bars and then he would do like 2 bars?
Yeah,
that was, I think, my favorite. Yeah, that was a moment where I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers can't miss.
Correct.
So I could see that being weird.
Super weird.
At this point in time.
Yeah, dude, because every 6 seconds it's J. Cole alluding to being the best. It's like, okay, kind of thing. And so like, yeah, dude, wild times in hip hop, bro. But at least we have this, bro. Because I truly think, again, I don't know who's writing this year for us, but we definitely did not have any of this stuff. Or at least the amount of drama and the amount of attention that hip hop is getting right now. So again, I think it's only a good thing. So the last question on this topic, and honestly, before we get out of here, again, the Rick Ross stuff seems to get personal. Again, I don't think anything Drake said was too personal, but do you think we're gonna get into a point where guys are just gonna start saying some highly disrespectful shit that this could unfortunately lead to like actual putting hands on people?
I think it's definitely possible. I think that's what's weird, like where I'm conflicted about this whole it's just competition thing. It's almost like the conversation of, oh, hip hop doesn't have any negative influence on the youth. I think if the competition escalates, then yeah, like it's gonna get personal to the point where you're like, yo, you talked about my wife or my kids, and it's not even like, yeah, my kid's mom. Um, and especially if certain things are true, I feel like at a certain point, it's like, yo, when I see you, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. Or like, if you come to my city, I'm gonna send a few people to like, you know, button you
Touch
up
you
or
up.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think if it gets to that point, like story added on level, then I'd say yes. But if it's just like surface level stuff, like you
BBL.
flopped, BBL, you know, you have ghost riders, all that shit. I don't think any of that's worth dying over or even getting punched over. But anything once a family's involved, kids, all that stuff, like then I think it's basically fair game for these guys in particular. I don't because battle rappers they spit at each other and shit and like they just hug it out at the end. But these guys have egos and it's just it could easily go left.
No, yeah, because I just wanted to get our stance on this like recorded because even I have that dude that like that conflict where I'm like, or I try to put myself in their shoes. I'm like, yeah, like you would think that let's keep it competitive. Let's just see who's the best rapper. But bro, if you keep saying some fucking highly disrespectful shit about like my sister, my mom, or you know whatever, like bro, like when I see you, dog, it's over. Dog, you know what I mean? Like, so at some point, we can keep saying like, you know, I know Little Duval got on J. Cole for like, how are you gonna back out, blah blah blah. But like, again, I'm not saying this is why. I'm not trying to give him any pass. But like again, at some point, this will get aggressive. That someone is like, yo, I'm gonna fuck you up, dog. Like, don't come anywhere near me. You know, kind of a thing.
I'm glad you brought it up because as this begins to unravel and Drake releasing his song, I am a little more sympathetic to J. Cole wanting to bow out if he has more insight or foresight into how this could play out, because maybe he just doesn't want to get to a point where he's clowning someone's kid or whatever, and he knows that's where people are going to take it. So if that's the case, you know, I respect it, but at the same time, it's hard to believe that he could only compete if he had to go to that extent.
Yeah, but I think that's also the issue with hip hop when like everything has like a double meaning, right? And specifically when we said this about Drake, bro, the last 6 months, bro, like it feels like his lyrics get more aggressive. Right? Mm-hmm. About like fucking you up, shootings and that stuff. And then even on 7 Minute Drill by Cole, bro, there's a lot of gun references. Right? Now, we can be like, oh, but he means lyrical gun and the clips are like lyrics. Sure, bro. But like at some point, people may just take that the wrong way and be like, bro, like press him if they ever press whoever when they see them. If you keep talking about guns, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, I can't give you the benefit of the doubt that that's not the obvious thing when it may just be that.
Right, exactly. And if it's not Drake and Kendrick and Cole who get hurt, you know, it's the muscle that they keep around them that, you know, are more expendable and willing to do whatever. And with J. Cole specifically, I feel like unless he had dirt on Kendrick, it's like, what are you really gonna say? I think there's also a point where it's like, I don't even know how to come out you in a way that's authentic without like basically threatening to kill you or some shit. Like, so I think that's another thing where he's like, dog, I had to literally lie to myself and say his discography was whack because I don't know anything else that would be worthy of mentioning that isn't going too far.
Right. Whereas you could tell Drake wanted to go too far.
Right. Because I think they genuinely don't like each other. It's like competition for Cole, but then Drake, it's personal. And it's like, I can't be involved in this if you're willing to take it to level 10 and I'm willing to go to like 6.
Yeah. So question for you though. Do you think that Drake is still cool with Cole? Like, do you think that line at all in the song Push-Ups was at Cole or was it at Kendrick? The one about like that shit was, I don't care what Cole said, but do you think that was at Cole or Kendrick, bro?
I love that question because I've been thinking about it for the past 24 hours. And I know other people have mentioned it.
I kind of think it was at Cole, bro, but like I want to think that they're still cool.
The first time I heard it, I was like, he's saying Kendrick's verse is weak. And he's like, Cole isn't gonna have any influence on how I approach this beef. But then as I listened to it again and heard other people's perspectives, I'm like, maybe he's saying the apology is some weak shit, and like I'm not going out like that. But he's Mr. Triple Double Entendre, so it could be both.
It could be both. It could be both. I think both are accurate. But who do you think he was alluding to then at the end when he's like, the big three is me counting myself twice?
Another great question.
Because then, like, is he putting Cole back in the equation?
I feel like he's almost saying, like, I'm the best, and, you know, you guys got to fight for the bottom spot. But I'm even better than, like,
I'm 1 and 2.
Who could be? I'm 1 and 2. You could fight for the third spot. That's cool, but that's still far away from me. So I almost feel like it was just like, him just sunning. Like just adding to the field,
keeping that energy as far as like it's really just me. But if you want to be a part of the big three, it's me and myself and then you, kind of a thing.
Yeah, basically.
Got it. Dude, I really hope he was dissing Cole though, bro. Like on some like bro, you're still my boy shit, but yo, sucker, you a sucker. Oh man, so good. Amazing. Bro, do we even have the heat of the week, or are we gonna just tell people to go download this shit and add it to their Spotify and Apple Music playlist?
I actually do have one.
All right, cool. So episode 175, heat of the week. What do you got?
So this artist I've been following for a couple months now. He's based out of LA. Gives me Nipsey vibes, which is cool. I know a lot of the newer music that comes out of LA is kind of difficult to, even for me, to get into, because one, it's either like the most niche gang beef, like you have no context on. They're off beat. This nigga dies a week later when you just started getting into him. Like, dude, there's a million reasons.
The offbeat thing is why it's hard for me to get into LA rap, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's like it just feels like very fast talking, and I'm like, are we not meant to incorporate the flow and the beat into this song? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I think Schoolboy Q, The Game, Nipsey stand out, because it feels like they're trying to create a song. Whereas, like, sometimes even with YG, I'm like, bro, you know there's a beat on this song, bro. Like, you gotta, like, respect the beat.
Yeah. No, it is lazy. And to be honest, a lot of these dudes are still actively gangbanging, drinking lean all day, not taking this seriously. They're popping enough, I guess, in LA, but like, I don't think they're taking the artistry that seriously. Whereas this guy, like, finally, like, you can no Diddy ride the beat. And not only that, his beat selection's amazing. And it reminds me of Nipsey. Unfortunately, he has like snitching allegations, which I don't give a fuck about, but I think that might hold him back. But in any case, there are several songs that I like from him. But in terms of heat of the week, I'll ask you. So both are bangers, but one is a more introspective banger that recently came out, and the other's more so like something you would play at a party, but both similar in nature. Which one?
Let's go party banger.
Okay. So this one. And this one's actually the one that got me into his music, so that's a good choice.
So who's the artist?
His name is Big Sad 1900, and the song is called Convertible Music.
Big Sad. Oh, popped up right away. Convertible Music. Oh, it came out last year. Cool. So he's still relatively new as well.
Yeah, still relatively new.
I think you're gonna say, bro. I think you're gonna say Ray Vaughn, because I've seen like a lot of Ray Vaughn shit like everywhere online. So I thought he was like the new.
Oh no, he's great too. I actually saw him. I think he opened for what's his name? Oh my god, TDE.
Okay.
Who's the dude? How am I forgetting his name? No, he like got caught getting blown by dudes.
Oh Jesus, I don't know who that is.
What's his name? Fuck, Isaiah Rashad.
Oh, Isaiah
Yeah.
Rashad signed a TDE?
Yeah, Isaiah Rashad signed a TDE.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then Ray Vaughn, I think he signed a TDE too.
Oh, good. My bad. I didn't mean to throw you off track. I just seen a lot of like Ray Vaughn stuff like online now. But Big Sad 1900. So convertible music.
Yep.
He signed to Empire Records. Shocker. All right. This is a banger though. This is like a club banger.
Yep.
Nice. All right, cool. This is gonna be one heat of the week then for this episode, because until we get that Drake thing, that's like the only thing I listen to over the weekend. So Big Sad 1900 it is. Cool, bro. Great episode. I think we stayed pretty aligned, but yeah, I think I just wanted to also get like on recording, like, yo, like, hopefully no violence comes from this, bro. That's like the only part that I'm like, bro, go like a little more aggressive, but like also don't get shot. It's like,
right, exactly. Because you could tell like it's escalating.
Correct, because again with the Drake thing, there's like the bodyguard references to like apparently someone was fucking Kendrick Lamar's wife.
Chains,
you're like,
yep, all that.
You're like, bro, like I love it. I love it. And like I think even like I'm pretty sure when like I'm confident about this actually, when Jay-Z responded to Ether, which again it was a whatever response, but I think he even said something about leaving condoms on your baby seat. And then that's where people had to get involved and like, bro, like you may want to like squash this, bro, because someone's gonna get shot, you know, kind of a thing. So yeah, it's like you want them to get as petty as possible, but like also just make it very clear, like, bro, like we don't want to this to end in like a terrible way.
And mind you, Drake, I mean, he has to come to LA. Doesn't he have a house in Calabasas and everything? Either way, every artist has to navigate LA for whatever reason. Like you're just not getting around it unless you're like terrified. So I think that's another thing. Kendrick is like pretty much like a Nipsey, to where if he wanted the streets involved, he could make it happen. So that would be a horrible scenario.
Yeah, horrible situation, bro. So yeah, God forbid, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But again, episode 175 about to wrap up. 2-week hiatus for your boys. Let the people know what we got going on. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. Catch us at audio-theory.com. New episode every week on all platforms. We also got the Spotify and Apple Music playlists on there as well. So be sure to check the Heat of the Week selection. If you're on YouTube, check down below. We got merch for you to cop. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe, donate, comment, do what you can to support the channel.
Support the channel. Love you, bro. I'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Peace.